My stomach knotted as the words escaped my mother's lips. "Oh no," she gasped with theatrical flair. "Olivia, we completely forgot your gifts." I watched Dylan's face split into a familiar smirk, the same one he'd worn for 26 years whenever I was diminished in front of others. The Christmas tree lights twinkled mockingly against the expensive presents I'd carefully chosen for them. The designer bag my mother now clutched, the premium watch gleaming on my father's wrist. "Don't cry this time," Dylan taunted, his voice carrying just enough concern to fool everyone else. "You're an adult now." The room vibrated with awkward tension as relatives shifted in their seats, some hiding smiles behind holiday napkins. A strange calm washed over me, replacing the familiar sting I'd carried since childhood. I felt my shoulders straighten, my chin lift. "I'm not going to cry," I said evenly, reaching for my purse. "Actually, I bought myself a pretty great gift this year." The metal key fob felt cool and substantial between my fingers as I held it up, catching the morning light. "Keys to my new apartment. I closed on it last week." "My name is Olivia. I'm 31 and a software developer. This is the story of how I replaced the family that never saw me with the life they never imagined I could build." My mother's plastic smile faltered. "You bought an apartment? With what money?" "With money from my job," I replied, maintaining eye contact. "My company just licensed a cybersecurity framework I built to a major international bank. My cut was solid." How solid? Mom's voice had that edge I recognized, the one that appeared whenever someone else might have something she wanted. I shrugged with deliberate casualness. "About $150,000 after taxes." The silence was absolute. Dylan's coffee mug froze halfway to his lips. His pregnant wife Maya's eyes widened to perfect circles. My father, who had spent my entire life praising Dylan's potential while dismissing mine, stared as though seeing me for the first time. $150,000? Mom repeated, her voice pitching higher. "What kind of job pays bonuses like that?" "I told you," I said, the calm in my voice surprising even me. "I'm a software developer. I build enterprise security systems for Fortune 500 clients." The transformation happened in seconds, the dismissal in their eyes replaced by calculation. Mom stood up, suddenly all sunshine and sugar. "Sweetheart, why didn't you tell us? We're so proud of you." Dad chimed in instantly. "Dylan, did you hear that? Your sister works with Fortune 500 companies?" Dylan's jaw clenched as Maya leaned in, whispering something in his ear. I recognized the whisper. It was the same hushed tone my parents used when discussing money problems they thought I couldn't hear. I'd made the 6-hour flight from Brooklyn to Seattle the previous day, taking time off from my position at a leading cybersecurity firm. For years, I'd been the invisible daughter, the quiet, awkward girl who didn't fit into her family's idea of success. Dylan was the golden child, the charmer, the football star with the perfect smile and endless charisma. I was the odd one, the girl who found refuge in coding clubs while her parents attended Dylan's games. It had been 8 years since I'd walked away. 8 years of silence after that Thanksgiving when my mother announced they were encouraging me to find steady work, while my uncle joked about hiring me as a dishwasher. The table had erupted in laughter, including my parents, not knowing I'd already secured a full scholarship to a prestigious tech program in New York. I hadn't intended to return, but Rachel's call had caught me off guard. "Your parents are trying to reach you. They want you to come home for Christmas." Rachel was my cousin who'd stayed in touch over the years despite the family drama, keeping a foot in both worlds. I'd agreed, partly from curiosity, partly to show them who I'd become. The previous night had been a slow drip of condescension, Aunt Nora cornering me. "Your brother's starting his own business. He's such a visionary. And you're still in computers?" Uncle Mike leaning over during dinner prep. "Dishwasher position still open at my diner. Pays minimum wage, but it's honest work." They'd set me on the couch while Dylan and Maya took my childhood bedroom, now his office. And here we were, Christmas morning, with my revelation hanging in the air like an unexpected storm. "So, tell us about this apartment." Mom perched beside me, her voice honeyed. "How many bedrooms?" "2 bedrooms, 2 baths. Fort Greene, close to work." We should visit, she beamed. Family should stick together. I almost laughed. Family, after 8 years of silence. Actually, I said, standing, I've got a long drive ahead. Mom reached for my arm. You just got here. Stay. Dad nodded eagerly. We haven't even talked about your career. As I packed my overnight bag, I could hear them whispering, voices hushed and urgent. When I returned downstairs, suitcase in hand, they were waiting with strained smiles that set off immediate alarm bells. Before you head out, Dad stepped forward, we should talk about Dylan's business opportunity. As you mentioned, he needs a little capital to get started. Dylan smiled like he was doing me a favor. It's a solid investment. You'd be in on the ground floor. How much? I asked flatly, already knowing the answer. Just $200,000, he said casually. With what you make, that's nothing, right? I looked at them. My parents who once laughed when Uncle Mike offered me a dishwashing job, my brother who spent a lifetime mocking me, and his wife who had chuckled along just yesterday. No, I said. The smiles vanished. What do you mean, no? Mom snapped. I mean, I'm not giving you any money. But we're family, Dad said, as if the word held any weight. I folded my arms. Where was family when I was told to find my own place the day after graduation, or when you paid for Dylan's college but left me to figure it out alone? That was different, Mom sputtered. We didn't have money back then. You had money for Dylan, I countered. Dylan showed promise, she barked, then immediately backtracked. I mean, we thought work would be better for you. I grabbed my bag. I need to go. You selfish brat, Dylan exploded. After everything this family did for you. What did you do? I asked calmly. Raise me. Feed me. That's parenting, not charity. And you made sure I knew I wasn't wanted. I walked to the door as they followed, still protesting. You'll regret this, Mom shouted. I won't, I said, and meant it. By the time I hit the highway to the airport, my phone lit up with calls and texts. Guilt trips stacked like cordwood. I blocked them all at a rest stop. Back in Brooklyn, I poured a glass of wine and watched the city glow from my balcony. Rachel texted, Heard what happened. Sorry about them. Don't be, I replied. This was the best gift they ever gave me. Freedom. She sent back a laughing emoji. Your mom's telling everyone you're ungrateful. Let her, I wrote. That night, I slept better than I had in years. The next morning brought a flood of messages. Not from my parents or Dylan, but from aunts, uncles, and cousins I hadn't spoken to in years. Your mother told us what happened. How could you abandon your family? Dylan is trying to build something. You should support him. We always knew you were the selfish one. One by one, I blocked them. Every name, every guilt trip gone. Rachel called that afternoon. Jesus, Olivia, she sighed. The whole family's imploding. Your mom called everyone saying you're rich and won't help Dylan. Good for her, I said dryly. She's telling people you've forgotten where you came from. Of course she is. God forbid they admit that the daughter they ignored actually did something with her life. Rachel's voice softened. I'm proud of you for what it's worth. It's worth a lot, I told her. You're the only one I care to keep in touch with. Are you really okay cutting everyone else off? Rachel, I said gently. I cut them off 8 years ago. This just made it official. That evening, I met my friends at our usual spot in Fort Greene, a cozy wine bar with worn leather booths and fairy lights above the bar. I told them everything. Good riddance, Lisa said. They sound toxic as hell. Do you think you'll miss them? Another friend asked. I thought about it. Number, I think I've been mourning the family I never had. This just closed the book. I raised my glass. To chosen family. To chosen family, they echoed, smiling. My phone buzzed. An unknown number. I switched it to silent. 6 months later, summer had wrapped the city in sunlight. I sat on my balcony, coffee in hand, watching the morning unfold below. It felt like emerging from a fog I hadn't realized I'd been living in. Rachel still called weekly with updates, not because I asked, but because she cared. As my father's sister's daughter, she was privy to all the family gatherings I no longer attended, keeping me informed despite my mother's disapproval. Jake's daughter was born last month, she told me. Madison. That's nice, I said, and meant it. I hoped that little girl would be loved better than I was. According to Rachel, Dylan and Maya were still living with my parents. The big startup was still just talk. Even the relatives were getting tired of hearing about it. Apparently, my parents had turned my betrayal into their favorite sob story at every family gathering, painting me as the ungrateful daughter who vanished despite all their sacrifices. Meanwhile, my life had taken a turn I wouldn't trade for anything. 3 months after that disastrous Christmas, I met Garrett at a coffee shop near my office, a freelance designer with a gentle smile and a deep respect for boundaries. He understood the tech world and, more importantly, understood what it meant to walk away from a toxic family. He had done it too. After 2 months of dating and countless conversations about our similar experiences, we decided to make things official. Work was thriving. I'd been promoted to lead systems architect for a major AI security integration. The pay raise was great, but what thrilled me more was the freedom to build something groundbreaking. My team respected me. My ideas mattered. I was finally building the kind of life I used to dream about from a lumpy couch in my parents' basement. About a month ago, Dylan somehow got hold of my new number and called. Rachel later admitted she'd given it to him after he'd pressured her, saying it was for a family emergency. "Hey, Olivia," he said, awkwardly chipper. "Thought we could catch up." "What do you want?" I asked. "Hurry. Madison should meet her aunt. Things are tight right now. Mom and Dad's house needs work." "No. You don't even know how much—" "Doesn't matter," I cut him off. "You selfish—" he exploded, but I hung up, blocked the number. As I sat there in my own apartment, sipping coffee beside Garrett, I felt nothing but peace. Everything they said I'd never have: love, stability, success. I built on my own terms. Rachel later mentioned they were turning my old bedroom into a nursery. It didn't sting. That room never felt like mine. This one does. They still tried reaching me through distant cousins and family friends. My favorite was Aunt Nora's voicemail. "Family is forever, Olivia." But I'd already walked away, and I wasn't turning back. Garrett and I were planning a trip to Japan next month. We'd been learning the language, mapping temples, and bookmarking noodle shops. Rachel messaged me. "Mom saw your post. She says it's typical you'd rather vacation than help family." "Good," I said. "Maybe she'll finally get it." Last week, I was promoted to head of engineering. "Top 1% salary," my boss said. "You earned this." We celebrated with friends. Lisa joked. "Your mom probably sensed your bank balance went up." That night, Garrett brought champagne to the balcony. "Let's buy a house," I said, "with space, a yard, maybe a dog." My phone buzzed. Rachel again. "Mom says you must be a drug dealer." I laughed. Let them spin their stories. I am living mine. If you've ever felt invisible in your own family, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment. Tell me what you walked away from, what peace you built. Your support reminds me that I'm not alone, and maybe you need that reminder too. My advice? Don't wait for permission to choose yourself. Build the life that reflects your worth, not their expectations. And if you relate, hit subscribe.